On his first day as a caregiver, this guy poured boiling water on his employer's leg just to test if he really couldn't feel anything. While checking out a pretty woman, he managed to shove food right into his boss's eye instead of his mouth. And finding the man's beard ugly, he trimmed it into some ridiculous shape. But here's the weird part. Instead of firing him, his employer paid him several times what other caregivers made. The employer, Felipe, was a billionaire who'd become paralyzed from the neck down after a paragliding accident. He could only move his head and needed to hire someone to help with daily life. Despite plenty of qualified candidates applying for the position, Felipe rejected them all and chose Driss as his caregiver. Truth was, Driss knew nothing about caregiving. Fresh out of prison for getting into fights, he'd only shown up to the interview to get a rejection letter so he could claim unemployment benefits. But Felipe took one look at him and offered a month-long trial period to think it over. The next day, Driss showed up as promised. He planned to grab his rejection letter and leave, but Felipe's secretary Anna gave him a tour of the mansion and showed him to his private room. The bathroom had the huge bathtub he'd always dreamed of having. In the end, Driss took the job, but Driss was a disaster at work. Felipe nearly fell out of his wheelchair because of his carelessness. He dozed off during care training and ended up putting foot wash on Felipe's head and shampoo on his feet. While feeding Felipe, he got distracted by the female secretary and jabbed food into his employer's eye. He made fun of Felipe's flesh-colored leg braces and flat out refused to help with bathroom needs. Felipe's friends couldn't understand why he'd chosen Driss. They thought he had no compassion whatsoever, but that's exactly what Felipe wanted. Driss's casual, authentic attitude made Felipe feel at ease because Driss never treated him like he was disabled. Driss refused to drive the handicap-accessible van. Instead, he'd pull the dust cover off the sports car, lift Felipe into the passenger seat, and they'd cruise around feeling the engine roar. When people parked illegally in handicap spots, something Felipe hated, Driss would politely confront them. This seemingly unreliable caregiver ended up saving Felipe's life when it mattered most. One night, Felipe suddenly couldn't breathe. Without hesitation, Driss rushed to his side. He placed a hot towel on Felipe's forehead, spoke soothingly to calm him down, then wheeled him outside. The fresh air on the Paris streets at 4 a.m. helped Felipe breathe easier. They ended up at a cafe. As they grew closer, Felipe finally opened up about his pain. He told Driss how much he missed his late wife and how the paragliding accident still gave him nightmares. Driss listened intently. Felipe officially told Driss he'd passed the trial period. Driss was thrilled. No one had ever believed in him like Felipe did. Driss got better and better at caregiving. The former troublemaker had become a proper caregiver, and he was determined to help Felipe regain his confidence.